Welcome to Outfitter Interviews with Safari Club International's Golden Gate chapter. Today we have Giuseppe Carrizosa, the Spanish hunting specialist. Welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your services.
Welcome, Steve. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself. I was born in a hunter's family, and I've been hunting myself since I was very, very young. And I'm 61 years old now. I shot my first big game animal when I was 8. And I loved hunting. I loved going with my father. My father unfortunately passed away when I was very young. I was 13, but I still had the opportunity to keep on hunting. I started guiding hunts professionally at the age of 21. And then just for Spaniards, some Europeans, but basically Spaniards, I used to do that in my in-laws' property. And in 89, I believe it was, I started going to the hunting shows in the US. I guiding for somebody else. Then I started my own company in 1993, which we've been running between my 2 elder sons and myself, basically, even though obviously we have other young men who help us guiding, but we've been the ones basically running the business. And this is a very basic family business, which we love. And we put a lot of emphasis and a lot of effort on what we do. We are, some of my clients criticize me because they say I like things to be perfect. If they're not perfect, I'm not happy. But anyway, that's the character of each one of us. And and we've been, I think, we've been very lucky. We've had excellent hunters, and we've been successful. And with the help of all of you, I was nominated International Professional Hunter of the Year in 2009. That was with the big help, amongst others, but the big help of the Golden Gate S.C.I. chapter. I will never forget that. And well, here we are. We've hunted with, I don't know, but I think it's well over 500 American hunters. And obviously this past year, it's been not slow. I would say we hunted till March the 10th or the 12th, and that was it. No more hunting since then. Now we are hunting a little bit with Spaniards, but because American hunters are not, Americans in general, are not allowed to fly into Spain. And there was this is interesting to say, I got a WhatsApp yesterday saying that the Spanish government is planning on allowing Americans to travel to Spain in April. I hope they are not wrong in this occasion, which I will surprise because they are wrong most of the times. What can I say? But well, we have some hopes. We have some hopes. Still not guaranteed we will be able to handle this spring season, but in the fall season with the vaccine and all that, I would say yes. And that's all I can say about my brief, simple story.
Okay, that sounds great that you're going to be able to start up again. I know this has impacted a lot of people very badly. That's just why we're doing these outfitter interviews, is to help out people who have guiding services and haven't been able to get to the shows because they've all been canceled. So anyway, why don't you tell us a little bit about what species you hunt?
Okay, in Spain we have 14 different big game species. Considering we have, see if I can remember them all. We have 4 different ibex, 2 chamois, red stag, fallow deer, European mouflon sheep, European roe deer, aoudad, wild boar, Iberian wolf, and Balearian buck.
Wow, that is quite.
Yeah,
that is quite a few.
They all spread all over the country. We hunt them only. This is important to point out. We hunt them only where they are native from, and we don't hunt species that have been planted in a fenced-in area, for example. And we do hunt some states. They are big states, but animals are native from that area. The reason for most of for those states being fenced is important to point out also. Most of them were fenced to protect the crops, not to keep the animals inside. And that makes a hell of a difference. Like our place in the Toledo Mountains, which is called Castañar, is a big property. It's about 12,000 hectares. That's close to 30,000 acres. It was originally fenced around like 40 years ago. As you can imagine, that fence in many different spots is turned down to pieces. So honestly, it cannot be considered fencing hunting-wise. The Game Department obliged us somehow to fix the fence to protect the crops from the neighbors' crops. But that's about it. And now it's very, very well protected because we introduced Iberian lynx like I think it was 5-6 years ago, and it's been very, very, very successful. Very. So we have help from the European Union, and the lynx population is increasing very rapidly. Obviously, they are protected, but it was an endangered species, and I think between the effort of many private Spanish properties, we are going to save the species. I mean, it's almost done.
Wow, that is really impressive. So basically, you're continuing the S.C.I's goal of conservation and species preservation by introducing a species which is, technically going to be reducing the population of some of the species that you hunt, but you're doing it because it's the right thing to do.
Exactly. That's the point. I know this. Some of the these links, we know they obviously the main thing is rabbits, but besides rabbits, we see them killing several roe deer, which is a big game species. But I mean, we think it's very, very important to preserve the species rather than losing a few roe deer that we are ready to afford.
That's really, really important that that hunters do this kind of thing. I'm really pleased that you do that. So you have all these different species that you hunt, and presumably it's in many different parts of your country, and also different times of year. So, what time of year do people come to hunt? You know, this to hunt different species there.
Okay, uh, we have a spring season and a fall season. I am grabbing a paper here not to make mistakes, but basically we have all four varieties of ibex that may be hunted in the spring and in the fall. Chamois may be hunted in the spring starting in May and in the fall starting in late October. Roe deer is in spring and very early fall. And then the other animals like red deer and fallow deer is only in the fall because they drop their antlers in March. And Balearian buck is almost year round. Wild boar is year round. Barbary sheep is mainly in the fall. And wolf is in the fall also.
Wow, that got to keep you busy with that many different species to hunt.
I think what makes Spain attractive is that being a pretty small country, Spain is smaller than Texas, for example. The terrain and the scenery can vary a lot. I mean, can vary very, very much within an hour and a half, 2 hours drive. So for somebody who comes to hunt, let's say, Pyrenean chamois, a grouse ibex, and a muffler sheep, that would be three mountain species. The sceneries, the home for each one of them is totally different. And I think that makes the hunt very attractive. And we are talking maybe 3 hours, 4 hours drive, we do one spot on the other. And obviously, when we are hunting in the Pyrenees, we stay there. I mean, we don't drive 2 or 3 hours back and forward every day. We stay right where we're hunting. Then when we get done with that species, we move to the next one, and that's the way we operate.
So, so what you're saying is that people come to hunt with you, and not just hunt one species, but they may do a whole package and hunt several different species.
Yeah, of course. There are, there are some hunters who, for example, are after the Capra Slam, and they're collecting different ibex and chamois. We've done in many occasions the 4 different ibex and the 2 chamois in one trip. That would be a 16, 17 days hunt altogether, and that gentleman will get to hunt in 6 different mountain ranges.
Wow, you can do all of that in just that short amount of time? I mean, that seems like 16, 17 days doesn't seem like a whole lot for that many species. You must have lots of animals.
The key, besides the quality of the areas, the key is that we have game scouts at each one of the areas. That makes a big, big difference. So by the time we get there, by we, I mean the hunter and me or my son or whoever is guiding him, by the time we get there, the local game scout knows about 3, 4, 5 different trophies. And as we explain them, we also have, if plan A doesn't work, we always have a plan B, a plan C, and a plan, because in many occasions, we go and look for one particular animal and we don't find him. I mean, they're wild, they're free. So he may may get in a creek, I'm going to tell you a interesting story about this. In one occasion in Gredos, we went to look for an old ibex, and there was a game scout there before we got there. And We were with another game scout. It was the hunter, my son Curro, myself, one game scout, and there was another game scout, as I said, glassing the area where the ibex went. Well, these three ibex, he told us in the radio, Giuseppe, can you see them? Yeah, we were like 400 or 500 yards away. They went into a little creek, a little ravine, and two of them came out, and the third one never came out. I mean, there's 6 guys looking here. How the hell can I get out of here with 6 guys looking here? Well, after 2 hours, we quit. We went to look for another one, for plan B. We found plan B and shot him. I got a call from the game scouts the following day. Giuseppe, you know what happened with the ibex disappeared? I said, what the hell happened? He died in the ravine. And we are very, very, very proud of that, because that means we hold them till the very, very, very last minute. So, I mean, that's bad luck, right? Dying right in front of us is the only time that has happened that to me. But in many occasions, we've shot, especially ibex, that they wouldn't have lasted for over, I would say, 2 or 3 months after the day he was hunted.
Oh my goodness, that's really impressive. I know people talk about shooting animals that wouldn't make it through the winter, but another 2 or 3 months, you're really holding them up right to the end.
Yeah, but that's not my job. That's the game scout's job. They live there all day long. That's their job. And in most occasions, we don't go for the biggest trophy we know. We go for the elder one we know. In many occasions, the elder one matches with the biggest one. Ibex don't they have horns, not antlers, so the horns keep on growing all the time. Once they get very old, they grow very, very, very little, but they still grow some. Sometimes they get broomed off. But I think that that way of managing an area is very important. That's something that I like to point out.
Very good indeed. So how do people hunt there? I mean, is it spot and stalk? Is it driving around? Is it backpacking? How do you hunt these different species?
When we hunt the mountain species like ibex and chamois and mouflon sheep, we stay in a lodge. Sometimes a lodge could be anything from a nice guest house to what we call in Spain parador. National paradors are old buildings, sometimes monasteries, sometimes forts, in remote areas. They were remodeled in the 70s to promote tourism in those areas. They're beautiful hotels. I wouldn't say XXX luxurious or XXX fancy, but very, very nice, very comfortable, excellent food. And we use some of them because they're very close to the areas we had. Okay, so we stay there, we take off early in the morning, and we spend all day long hunting. We take a day pack, not a big backpack with no sleeping bag, no tent, no nothing, just a day pack. And we come back in the evening again, have dinner, spend the night at our lodge, and then same game the following day. We try to drive the vehicle. There are dirt roads. In some areas there are more dirt roads than others, as close as possible to the valley or the area where the game scout has seen the animal we are looking for. And then sometimes it's 1 hour hike, or sometimes it's the whole day hike. It depends how things go. We try to save the easiest spots. I mean, the easiest spots where there's something that should be harvested for those hunters who are not in that good shape, and try to go to the longer hikes with younger hunters. But sometimes that works, sometimes not. But that's basically what we try to do. Well, the amount of game, the amount of animals is very high, is very big. But the big job is done by the game scouts. Those are the ones, and we totally rely on them. I mean, they know exactly what they are doing. They know the animals. They've been raised in that area, so they know the area like you and me know the palm of our hand, and and that's the full-time job. We don't pay them. The game department pays them. Most of these areas are what we call in Spain national hunting preserves. National hunting preserve is like a national park where some restricted hunting is allowed. And by restricted, I mean the hunt is, we buy the permits, and the hunt is somehow conducted by the game department. We are always, one of these game scouts has to be with us, but they are they are official game wardens, but they come to help, not to. I mean, their goal is to have the hunter as satisfied as possible and clapping hands at them if possible after the hunt. That's their goal. So they're excellent professionals and very nice people. And then we have the same figure in private land, where we had private land. Instead of being an official game warden paid by the game department, is a game warden, a gamekeeper paid by the landowner. Okay.
Okay, that sounds really impressive. That you have the government helping you out with your hunting. We don't have quite that same.
No, it's not exactly
in some areas, but
it's not exactly the same. It's like, okay, this hunting process would be like a big concession that is managed by the game department instead of being managed by a private person, and they put, I must admit, they put all their efforts and the best they can do to match the area properly. That's very important, and to have all hunters as satisfied as possible. For example, the hunting preserve of Gredos, which is very well known internationally, got, I believe it was in 2009, I believe it was, they won the Edmond Blanc Award. And the Edmond Blanc Award is a distinction given by the European Union to the best management in any wildlife area. So for any area to get that recognition is a big deal.
That does indeed sound like a very big deal. So what kind of weapons do people bring with them? Are they people shooting rifles, pistols, muzzleloaders, archery? What kind of hunts do you have?
We do mainly rifle, and we do take a lot of bow hunters. For some reason, I don't know why. I think nowadays we are the Spanish outfitter that takes more bow hunters than anybody else. Maybe because we were very successful with well-known international bow hunters, especially with the Gredos apex. We broke the world record for Gredos apex 5 times in a row. And that's not our ability, and that's not, to be honest, the bow hunter's ability. That's the way the area is managed. And we are talking totally free roaming animals. I mean, no fences, no nothing. But it's lots of game, lots of old animals, many mountain hikers also. That helps bow hunting because the animals are more familiar with people walking up and down the trails. But anyway, and but as I said, I would say 80-85%, maybe 90% rifle and 10% bow hunters. And eventually we've had some pistol and some muzzle loaders, but I think maybe half a dozen of them in my entire career, so very little.
Okay. Well, that kind of brings up another question, since you're talking about the different types of weapons here. With international travel being so difficult these days to bring firearms, do you have firearms available there that people can rent?
Yes, we have raffles. In fact, we have two raffles just for our customers, and they are 270 Winchester short Magnum with big size scope, and the other one is a European caliber is 764. That equals, I would say, to the 280 Remington, something like that. And also with that one has a big Swarovski, and that's the 270 short Magnum is a Remington, and the 764 is a Stein Malinger. Stein Malinger is Austrian gun, is a European gun, and they both shoot very accurate, very smooth, no kick, and we take the hunters to the shooting range before we go hunting. Just we know the rifles are set in, but just for them to be comfortable, for them to feel the trigger, I think that's important.
Yeah, it's really important to become familiar with the weapons you're going to be using.
And some bring their own rifles, which I would say it depends on the islands. Some islands make it easier than others, basically. And to use a reference peg, no matter if it is your own one or if you are borrowing one from us, both ways, you need to bring a document from the Spanish consulate in your, being American, you need to bring a document from the Spanish consulate in your jurisdiction, like in your case would be the one in San Francisco, for example. And basically what the document says is that you are in possession of a hunting license in the US and you are allowed to use hunting weapons in the US. That started after the bombing of the towers in New York. What was it, 2002, 2003?
2001.
2001, sorry. Well, after that, we have to try to stop terrorists traveling around with guns. They introduced that, but that's simple. I mean, it's you contact the Spanish consulate by mail. You don't even need to go, of course, and you send them a copy of your passport, a copy of your hunting license, and I think the fee is $50, and it takes them 2 weeks to send you back the document that we call letter certificate, which basically proves that you are an honorable person and you are flying with a weapon to hunt and not with any other purpose. That's basically what says in the document.
Okay, very good. Now, my next question would normally be, what sort of trophies can people expect, whether they're representative samples or what? But it sounds like you have some, from what you've already said, you have some amazing trophies.
Well, the way life is right now and the way hunts are conducted all over the world, especially in Europe, I would say, is that trophy fees are paid according to trophy sizes. And that's the way it is. I wasn't the one who started that. And that started mainly, that started in Spain, I would say mainly because of these hunting preserves. When we Spaniards go hunting to this hunting preserve, we pay a basic trophy fee, which you would call permit, okay? And then once we harvest the trophy, the game wardens score the trophy, and then we pay what you would call trophy fee, okay? In our fees, in our price list, we call it trophy fees to make it as simple as possible. So we introduce the permit and a basic trophy fee in the same amount, and that covers a trophy up to a score, which in S.C.I. is normally up to silver medal score in S.C.I. Over that score, there's a scale, and then we ask the hunter, obviously, before they get here, to plan the hunt one way or another. What quality trophy would you like to harvest? And according to his answer and according to his physical condition, we take him here or there and try to get as close as possible to what he wants. Obviously, I always explain my hunters, look, this is not McDonald's. You cannot ask for a burger medium rare or totally well done. we try to get as close as possible, but still as close as possible. It's not. I've had, in one occasion, we were looking at an ibex at close to 300 yards. It was a big one. And I remember me saying to the hunter, look, we guessed, the game warden and me, we guessed the score is 250 or 255. We are talking about C.I. score, European scoring system, okay, which is the fee are based on that system. 250 or 255 would be probably 3/4 of an inch of horn length. That's the difference, right? Obviously, to judge that at 300 yards is not easy. So I remember this gentleman looked at me. He said, Giuseppe, did you say 250 or 255? I said, well, we are guessing between 250 and 255. It could be, look, we can make a mistake. It could be 245, it could be 260, but in that range. Giuseppe, I need to know the score exactly. I got so mad. I said, this is over. Let's go. We won't hunt today anymore. And we left. And then he shot a very big one the following day. And I must admit, he was a true gentleman. And he asked me, Giuseppe, please accept my apologies for yesterday's mistake. He told me that 20 times. I must admit that also. But at the beginning, that really made me angry. And I said, come on, quit, let's quit. How the hell can anybody expect anybody to guess a horn length within an error of half an inch at 300 yards? I mean, it's impossible. It's impossible. We knew the score because I had probably seen that animal before, but the game warden had seen him close many times. So that's what we knew, more or less the score. But judging anything at 300 yards is very difficult.
I'm always amazed at how well the guides can estimate the trophy size of an animal, and not being out there and seeing the animals is every day like they do. It seems almost magic to the rest of us.
Yeah, I think you must see many, and then you must score many. Because if I see them and think I cannot match that with the score, then I have no idea. So I think you need to see many, and see them from different positions and understand that if you look from one angle, they might look bigger, and then if you look from a different angle. But especially you have to score them later, to understand, to match what you are saying with the tape. Call it that way, with the score. Okay. It's not that difficult. It's being used to it like any other thing in life.
It's a skill that the people have developed over time. Yeah, I understand. But while we're talking about trophies, what do you do to make sure that that the trophies that people get are handled properly, and for people who can take meat home, that the meat is handled, or if the meat is even available?
Yeah, we do it. The way we do it is very, very simple. When we harvest the trophy, we the full. We keep out the whole animal if the hunter wants to do a full mount or just the cape or whatever he wants, right? And we don't cape out the head in the field. We cape the animal out up to the neck, cut the neck, and then carry the head with the head home. Then we freeze it. We put it in a freezer. That same day, that's important. And whenever we have several of them, the taxidermist comes home, picks them up. He does the final caping. He cleans all the little leftovers in the hide, salts the hide, boils the skull, cleans the horn in the inside, which is very, very important. Otherwise they stink, and some of them they stink forever. I don't know why, but if you don't clean them well since the beginning, they stink forever. And then we chip them over. The way we chip them over is we recommend everybody to have their trophies in the same crate. I didn't explain myself properly. I mean, fall season, we try to ship as many trophies as possible in just one crate. First of all, is safer. Secondary is cheaper. And obviously each, let's say an ibex would have 4 pieces: the head, the skull, the left horn, and the right horn. Each piece is labeled with the hunter's name. And on top of that is wrapped over and labeled again, okay? All those animals are put in a crate. We use a company in New York, it's called Genus Logistics, and he's the one who clears customs. He's the one who clears our trophies, and then he requests them in hardboard boxes and sends them to their final destination. Sometimes it's the hunter's house, and most occasions it's the taxidermy studio in the US. We do some mounts, but we prefer not to do the mounts, honestly, because to be honest, we're just taking a risk. We don't know if the hunter is going to like the position the animal is going to. I mean, obviously, once the hunter flies back home, he has no opportunity to come back and talk to the taxidermist. Besides, the taxidermist doesn't speak a word of English. I must also point out that. So we honestly prefer to send the job is very, very well prepared and very clean, and let each one of you use the taxidermist of your choice and do it the way you like it better. We send 2 shipments every year. After spring season, we normally send them in early July, and the fall season, we send them once we get back from the shows. So that would be in late February. So the longer a hunter can wait is, let's say if he hunts in September, he will catch his trophy in early March. And if he hunts in December, he will still get his trophy in Olympic because they will go in the same crate, probably, okay? And the same in the spring.
Okay, I understand that now. What can a hunter do to ensure their best chance of success when they're hunting with you?
I didn't understand your question very well. Are you asking me about
So in terms of physical ability, shooting ability, things like that, what can a hunter do to ensure their best chance of success?
What can a hunter do? Well, as I said, in the areas we had, there are spots that are a little bit more physically demanding and some other spots that are really easy. We try to save the easiest spots for those gentlemen who are elder or who, for any reason, they are not in good physical condition or they have some handicap or whatever, right? I think if anybody can shoot at, I would say, 250, maybe 300 yards, I think he will succeed, yes or yes, regarding his physical condition.
And if somebody wanted an especially challenging hunt, you can accommodate that also, I presume.
I'm laughing because I'm going to tell you a brief story. We had, I'm not going to tell names, right? Because I don't think that's appropriate. I'm going to tell you the story. We had a professional sportsman hunting with us 20 years ago. And he had already shot a mufflon sheep and one of the others. And we were staying at El Castañar, a place in Toronto, and he says, you know, Giuseppe, I'm impressed you run a hell of an operation, it's very, but I thought it was going to be more physically demanding. I'm not enjoying, you know, because I'm a sportsman and blah, blah, blah. And I thought it was, so well, maybe I can fix that. I don't know, let me try. So the next hunt for him was an ibex. And we put him with the game scout who's non-stop, believe it, non-stop smoking all day long. I mean, no matter what time you see him, he's going to have a cigarette, but he walks like a goat. So his name is Antonio. I said, look, Antonio, how long it takes you from here to Ancenas? The Ancenas is a big antenna on top of the mountain that normally is 6-7 hours walk, hike. Giuseppe, I think I can make it in 3 hours. Come on, you must. I think I said, look, this gentleman who's going to be hunting with you, he's a professional sportsman. He says you are very, very pushy, but he can beat you easily. So I want to challenge you. Just start walking up the mountain, and you don't even look back. Just take your pace, and he will follow you easily. So obviously, I drove with the car all the way up to the Ancena, and I got there. And after a while, I saw Antonio with his cigarette coming, and nobody behind. And then I was worried. So what the hell is Antonio did with this guy? Well, the guy showed up like 15, 20 minutes later. He was exhausted, and then he said, Giuseppe, I must have had, eating something or drink something that did not good to me. To make a long story short, he spent 2 days in bed, and then after that, he got his epics. Obviously, he never admitted about the challenge of.
Okay, that's.
You would laugh even more if I tell you who the gentleman is. Obviously, I'm not going to tell, but it's our humans, our ego sometimes is incredibly stupid. Believe me. I am the first one for that, right? But sometimes the ego is so damn stupid. But anyway.
Yes, it's really easy to think that your abilities are greater than they are, I suppose. But that is a tremendous story. I'm so glad that you shared that one.
Now being serious, not telling stupid stories. As I said before, anybody who takes a little time practicing, not here obviously, at home before they come here, and he can shoot accurately at 250, 300 yards. He should not be worried about his physical condition, because either with a horse, with a vehicle, walking very little, he will get his animal.
What can you do or what do you do to ensure the safety of your clients when they're on your hunts?
Yeah. First of all, we don't publish any picture of anybody without his authorization. To be honest, we only use verbal authorization. I mean, like I would say, Steve, is it okay if I have your pictures on my website or something like that? We've had that with some politicians, some people who are very much interested on, no, that's the way it is, very much interested on not having anybody else knowing they have had it with us. So we take them to places, we stay with them in places. Obviously, they are foreigners, so in Spain, so Spaniards don't recognize them. We never say the name because, it's and I don't know if I'm responding your question. I don't know if this is, and we try to be as discreet as possible.
Are your guides trained in first aid and that sort of thing and carry first aid kits?
Yeah. Basically, I mean, very basic, yes, but they do. I mean, they're very, very careful, and we very much insist on that. If they think the hunter is having a tough time or he's not feeling well or whatever, I mean, health is way, way, way more important than any world record thereafter. I mean, that's point number one. We don't even doubt about it. I mean, that's very, very important.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time on this interview. I'm sure that our viewers will appreciate this. Is there something you'd like to say to the viewers in closing?
Well, I must. I'm very thankful to the Golden Gate S.C.I chapter. You've helped me a lot, believe me, very, very, very much during my professional career. Bob Kagi has helped me a lot. We've had many of your club members hunting with us, and we made very good friends through your club.
Okay, great. And hopefully many people from other areas will see this video and they'll want to come hunting there. And whether it's something small like a chamois or large like one of the 4 species of ibex that you have there. It sounds like they're going to be in for a great time no matter what.
We hope so. We are ready to host all of your friends that want to experience Spain. And the only thing we can guarantee is that we are going to do the very, very best for them to have an experience of a lifetime. Hopefully, they will get their trophies, but they're going to have an experience of a lifetime for sure.
Okay. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.